Oh, Lord. WrestleMania 29. When I knew I had to do this review, I just... Oh, God. Pretty much this review, it's going to be primarily me either talking about my experiences of watching wrestling around this time and skimming through the show, with the exception of Punk vs. Undertaker. That match was great. Everything else, I don't look back on with a fond kind of sense of light, you know? Like, this show, so much stuff here, just didn't scream WrestleMania. A lot of this screamed just middle of the road pay-per-view. Once again, outside of Punk Undertaker, everything besides that match just screamed like, B-level show. Nothing special about this. The fact that they chose the main event with Cena and Rock, again, I don't know who besides Vince thought that was a good idea. That was a terrible idea. This WrestleMania really, it pissed Punk off in many ways. It pissed the whole fan base off, really. Because having Cena Rock main event over, instead of putting Punk Undertaker in the main event, or even Punk Rock Cena as the main event, just going with Rock Cena, just straight up WWE title. Probably the worst route they could have gone. This review, if it's over 20 minutes, I'd be really surprised. A lot of this I'm just going to fly right through because it's not WrestleMania worthy. I don't want to waste you guys' time talking about matches like Dolph Ziggler and Big E versus Team Hell No for the tag titles. Does that scream WrestleMania to you? Because it doesn't to me. Like, a match like that, and that's not the only one. It's not like I'm nitpicking that match. The Shield versus Sheamus, Orton, and The Big Show. Really random. That's a Raw match. Ryback versus Mark Henry. Okay. Like, what else? Chris Jericho versus Fandango. That happened at a WrestleMania. Like, are you serious? Del Rio versus Swagger was the world title match. I mean, just this show. Triple H Brock, even that didn't feel overly special. That was just whatever. And then you got to, Punk Undertaker. I can't wait to review that in a few minutes. And then Rock Cena main event. This was just not great. So I'm just going to get into this review. Basically, WrestleMania 29. No kickoff or pre-show review for this. Just forget about it. The theme song for the show was the second best thing about it. Coming Home by Diddy. That was a great song. I love listening to that tune. That's just a great song in general, not just as a wrestling song, just a great song. So we open the show, 6-man tag match. The Shield, Reigns, Ambrose, Rollins against Sheamus, Randy Orton, and The Big Show. Pretty much the whole thing with this was that you can't trust The Big Show. Sheamus and Orton, they were like tag team partnership, and then The Big Show was just the sixth man, or third man, sorry. So pretty much this is an opener. It was basically just Sheamus and Orton being tagged together, and then Big Show acting poorly on the apron, trying to sell that, there's dissension in our face tag team. And it was so obvious what was going to happen. In the end, pretty much, after their 10-minute match, which was just a regular 6-man tag to open the show, Big Show eventually just, he did what he did, basically. Anyway, I'll get through a few spots in this match, and I'll get to that ending. The spot of the match was Big Show's huge spear to Ambrose and Rollins. So the Shield had like a triple powerbomb ready for Sheamus. Big Show spears Ambrose and Rollins. That was sick. In the end, Sheamus was going towards the corner. Orton tags himself in. Big Show's just standing there on the apron. Rollins dives off the top rope into an RKO. Roman proceeds to hit a spear on Randy Orton. Ambrose covers Orton for the 1-2-3 while Big Show just stands there. After the match, Big Show, Sheamus and Randy Orton looking at him like, why didn't you save us, man? And then Big Show KOs them both. Whatever. 3 stars I gave this. Moving on. So then we get a high package building up Rock vs. Cena. This is basically just showing Cena in his darkest moments after WrestleMania 28. You just have to feel for Cena. He'd only main evented a pay-per-view, garnered millions of dollars from that, millions of people's fans' eyeballs and attention and admiration, but God, you've just got to feel for Cena. How will he overcome? So from there we went to Ryback versus Mark Henry. Nothing about this screams WrestleMania. This was just a match that was at WrestleMania. Why was this at WrestleMania? Pretty much, I didn't care at the time when this happened. I don't care now when I'm reviewing it 7 years later. I couldn't care less. It's just 2 big guys, and it wasn't even a good match. I'm all for big guys wrestling at WrestleMania, but this just wasn't a good match. In the end, Ryback hit shell shocked on Mark Henry. So Ryback with Henry on his shoulders is impressive, but then pretty much, Mark Henry just made Ryback collapse. That was the whole thing of this match. Ryback got Mark Henry on his shoulders a couple of times, and Mark Henry kept, fighting out. In the end, Mark Henry collapsed on Ryback, and then Mark Henry covered in 1-2-3, which is a storyline that didn't make sense, because I legit remember 6 months before this, Ryback with literally 3 midgets on his shoulders, who probably add up to the same weight Mark Henry is. Anyway, Mark Henry winning at WrestleMania, good moment for Mark, but this didn't need to happen. I gave this half of a star. 8 minutes this went for. We'll move on. Tag team match for the WWE Tag Team Penny Belt titles. Team Hell No, Bryan and Kane defending against Dolph Ziggler and Big E with AJ Lee. The only memorable thing about this was that they teased the Kiss of Death thing, where Ziggler and AJ Lee went to kiss on the apron, and then Bryan nearly beat Ziggler a moment later, and that would have been like a 10-second match. This match should have been 10 seconds, but it went for 7 minutes or 6 minutes, which is nothing special here. Pretty much, Big E was sold as a dominant force. His first WrestleMania match, they're really trying to sell him as big and tough. Okay, sure, Big E's cool. Nothing else to say, really. Ultimately, Ziggler goes to use the Money in the Bank briefcase on Kane, but Kane ducks into a chokeslam. Then Daniel Bryan hits a flying headbutt on Ziggler for the 1-2-3. And basically, Team Hell No retain. 2.5 stars, 6 minutes this went for. Moving right along. Chris Jericho vs. Fandango. Why is this at WrestleMania? This is a Monday Night Raw match. So the fourth match of the night, we see Chris Jericho taking on a jobber, Fandango. They're trying to push him. His thing with the that's a cool thing for Smarks in Europe to do, but as an actual overall gimmick of character, it's just not great. Basically, Jericho dominated most of this match, and then in the end, Fandango literally counters the walls of Jericho into a roll-up. 1-2-3. Fandango beats Chris Jericho. Sure. So, that's literally 4 matches out of the way. That match was 2 stars, 9 minutes, 10 seconds. That's 4 matches I've reviewed, and it's literally been, 6 minutes? And half of, 3 of these minutes were just me talking about the show, so... Jeez, this show was just nothing memorable in this show besides Punk Undertaker. So then we went to the singles match of the World Heavyweight Championship. Alberto Del Rio with Ricardo Rodriguez. Don't know why I'm mentioning that, but still. Defending against Jack Swagger with Zeb Coulter. The world title match between Del Rio and Swagger. It had your traditional, country versus country patriotism thing. Del Rio representing Mexico. Swagger representing the United States. Fine. Zeb Coulter was a great manager. Rodriguez really wasn't. The match was fine. It wasn't a bad match. It was okay. I remember these two guys, they have a chairs match at TLC 2015, and that match was a bit better than this one. This match here at WrestleMania, just no reason to care. There's absolutely no reason to care. Basically, the whole thing was Jack Swagger working over one of Del Rio's ankles, which the only reason that's notable is because the night after, Del Rio retains here, the night after Del Rio retains, so the Raw after Mania in 2013, Ziggler cashed in, and then beat Del Rio. So that was the big thing with that. Anyway, with this, Swagger and Colt had this cool entrance on a mini buggy as they drove down to the ring. But the match itself, Del Rio ultimately locked in the cross arm breaker and just got the victory. So Del Rio beats Swagger, 3 stars, 10 minutes 29. Moving on, Del Rio retains. And then we get the match of the night, by far, Undertaker vs. CM Punk. This just... How Punk didn't main event this WrestleMania still staggers me. Undertaker vs. CM Punk. I didn't love the storyline, personally. The whole thing with, Punk. So he came off the Rock feud where Punk held the WWE title for 434 days, fights The Rock at the Royal Rumble. Rock beats Punk after all that BS of the Shield and Vince coming out, restarting the match. Rock ends up hitting a people's elbow and pinning Punk, which I didn't like that. But with them, you roll into Elimination Chamber. Punk steals the championship belt when he's not the champion. And then Rock just beats him, even though... whatever. So Punk isn't looking great at this point, and he talked about that in the Art of Wrestling podcast he did with Cabana. He talked about how's Punk himself supposed to be taken seriously when the whole of 2013 for Punk was him getting beaten twice by The Rock and looking like a chump, losing this match to The Undertaker, which this I could understand, because having Punk break the streak would have been a really weird move, and then have Punk losing to Lesnar. So everything they did with Punk was having him lose to part-timers, and Punk's point was, how does that make me look to the casual viewer who only watches and sees the results? Oh, this guy just loses every match. So, anyway, Punk here, he put on a show at WrestleMania. You always knew he would. Punk on this night was wearing the grey and the purple attire. It was great. Pretty much Punk in this storyline with Undertaker. After the Elimination Chamber stuff with The Rock, Punk began with the Undertaker own thing, because Paul Bearer died... When was it? March 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, sometime around then, 2013. And then Punk he was going to take on The Undertaker anyway, and then they just did 3 weeks of, Heyman dressed as Paul Bearer, mocking him, and then Punk, pouring like sand or dirt, like pouring dirt all over Undertaker, and they're acting as if he's pouring Bearer's ashes on Undertaker. Like that didn't love the build. And then we get to WrestleMania. These guys stole the show. Punk came out with the having Cult of Personality performed. So Living Colour made the performance here. That was great. Pretty much Undertaker's entrance, it was everything you expect. Awesome, as it always is at WrestleMania. Great spectacle, the smoke, the hands reaching up at him from the base of the stage. Undertaker's entrance was really cool. The match itself, it was just fantastic. It was the way these two guys worked. Punk and Undertaker, it just worked. Punk paced the match really well. It didn't pace it too fast, but it was nowhere near as slow as Brock vs Undertaker from 30. He worked the match really well. Undertaker was great here. This is when he was on his run of classics at WrestleMania. Just come off 2 matches with Michaels, 2 with Triple H. Here, Taker did very well in this match. The main spot people remember was the big announce table spot where CM Punk, he was beating up Undertaker at ringside. Punk lays out Undertaker on the Spanish announce table, I believe it was. Punk then goes up the top rope, does the night taunt, and then he proceeds to do a diving elbow drop from the top rope down to the announce table to the Undertaker. It broke the table and damaged Punk severely. He came down on one side. You see, comes down on his side on the announce table, and the hard corner bit, the sharp bit, which that must have felt horrible for Punk. That bump did not look great for Punk. And really, he had to recover well in the 2 months he got off leave from the company after that. That bump was brutal. He tore up his knee during that. But yeah, so the match itself is incredible. That spot, obviously, one of the main ones, but geez, there's so many good moments. There's the striking exchanges, Punk wearing down Undertaker with some submissions, Undertaker hitting the moves he always hits, so the last ride, the old school, which I've always thought old school was a very illegitimate looking move. I'm why doesn't the guy just pull Undertaker down? I never liked the old school, but anyway, this match was just great. By far the match of the night, without question the match of the night. Pretty much in the end we had ultimately both guys were trading reversals of submission signatures and finishes before Undertaker grabs Punk and delivers a tombstone pile driver on him. 1, 2, 3. Undertaker defeats CM Punk to go to 21-0 at WrestleMania. It's weird having watched the following year's WrestleMania before this, though, because you see the streak breaking, and then you see this where the streak's continuing, but that's irrelevant to this match. This was just great. So we got the traditional scene afterwards. The Undertaker holds his urn, where purple lights and pyro are going off. It's this really cool spectacle. Great tribute to Paul Bearer. And then, well, that was it. CM Punk fades off into time off after this. He got 2 months off before the payback match versus Jericho, so this was great. 4.5 stars, 22 minutes, 7 seconds. Undertaker wins, 21-0 at WrestleMania. So, from here we get another Cena video package. This was just... well, look, they were really hyping up Cena too much. It's so predictable what they're going to do. From here we go the no-holds-barred match. Triple H with Shawn Michaels against Brock Lesnar. Obviously with Paul Heyman. Didn't care for this at all. Pretty much the whole thing with this was that Triple H fought Brock at SummerSlam 2012. In what was the catch line for that show? The perfect storm has erupted. And they were showing because it was at the Staples Center and they had the perfect storm hits LA. And that was the big thing for that. The only cool part about that match was Triple H's last match with hair. That was the best part about that match. Anyway, Triple H against Brock Lesnar. Nothing to really care for here. I just didn't like this. They went no holds barred to try and make the match engaging, but I just don't care. I just don't. Brock Lesnar worked over Triple H most of the match, as you'd expect. Strikes, punching away, German suplexes, belly to bellies, belly to backs, that kind of thing. Just striking, elbows. They went to ringside a fair bit, some barricade spots, some stuff at the announce tables. Got a chair involved, a kendo stick, steel steps. It was a no-holds-barred match. If this show was a better WrestleMania, I'd probably review it more in detail, but I just didn't care. I just didn't. Ultimately, Triple H was locking in the Kimura lock on Lesnar, and then eventually Triple H hits a pedigree on Brock, 1, 2, 3, to win the match at WrestleMania 29. Brock should have won this, but I see what they were going for. Then they did the rematch at Extreme Rules 2013 in a match that no one remembers, that cage match. With this Triple H and Brock feud, I didn't even remember who won the matches. I knew Brock won at SummerSlam, but I forgot the rest of it. Yeah, so Triple H goes over here, 24 minutes this went. I gave this 3 stars. Whatever. From here, we get the Hall of Fame class of 2013. They're rushed onto the stage. Okay, because my issue with this show, despite the fact that, as I've read, besides Punk and Undertaker, nothing is memorable or important, everything is going on too long. There's too many Cena video packages, too much pointless backstage stuff. The matches themselves went on too long. And even though these matches, for example, Ryback Mark Henry, the Shield 6-man tag opener, Team Hell No vs. Ziggler and Langston, Jericho Fandango, even though these are matches that don't need to be happening, and they didn't even go on too long, they just went on too long. Like, Fandango Jericho went 9 minutes, but clearly timings were just so effed up that literally now you get to this point where you get to the main event with Cena and The Rock, and compared to WrestleMania 28, which was done really well, where they had Flo Rida perform for The Rock, you had MGK perform for Cena, really big, the video package, the entrances. The pre-match for WrestleMania 28, which I'll talk about next review, went for literally like 15 minutes. Here, we got the Hall of Fame class. They announced the attendance was 75 whatever thousand. I didn't even pay attention. And then you just got The Rock and Cena coming out, and they just rushed it. Like, look, this was the culmination of everything that started at WrestleMania 27, where as soon as they announced Rock would be the host of 27, this match was in the pipeline for 29. It was so predictable. You could see years in advance. They announced this match officially on late February when Punk lost to Cena on Raw, where the winner would face Rock in the main event. Punk lost. That should have been a draw. Anyway, this match, the commentary was totally cringe. I was just praising Cena, talking about how last year wasn't his year, but 2013 started off great by winning the Rumble and beating the Shield at the Elimination Chamber. Or at least I think he beat the Shield. It doesn't matter. Basically, Cena's year's 2013. They're really selling this narrative. The match was pretty boring. Rock, did he tear his groin? He hurt himself. I think it was his groin, yeah. He injured himself, tore something from the bone, badly injured himself 5 minutes in. Rock talks about this in his not his TED talk, but his talk to the Lakers, which is used in motivational videos, talks about how 5 minutes in he really hurts himself, but then he has to keep going because it's fate of the universe on the line. This is his game 7. This is his moment. He stands up for the team. Rock could pull out of the match and completely make the main event even worse than it was, but Rock kept going. So they spent the next 20 minutes just having a average wrestling match. It was nowhere near as good as WrestleMania 28. 28 felt special. This was nothing special. It was just a lot of counters. It was getting tedious. The show just went on too long before this. In the end, Cena hit what felt like his 20th AA on The Rock. 1, 2, 3. Cena achieves redemption. He poses with the WWE Championship, which that belt looked good. Cena, then they do the shot on the stage where Cena's having his arm raised by The Rock. Cena's all happy. So then, that was it. That was WrestleMania 29. That match I gave literally 2 stars. 23-58. Maybe the match was probably a 3-star match, but just because knowing The Rock got injured and the fact that it didn't need to happen, I gave it 2 stars. Cena wins the WWE Championship, 24 minutes. I'm just going to get this show wrapped up and get out of here because I don't want to talk about this show any longer than I have to. Overall, I'm giving this show a D. I thought, compared to WrestleMania's 9 and 11, it wasn't that bad because of Punk and Undertaker primarily, and the fact that Triple H and Brock wasn't that bad. And name-wise, this show had some big stars on it. But compared to modern-day WrestleMania standards, it's just well below. You expect better than this. This was near enough on par with 27 as far as quality. This just wasn't very good. Overall, just the whole undercard was a waste of time. Triple H Brock was fine, but I didn't feel it needed to happen. The Shield against Orton, Sheamus, Big Show, And then CM Punk Undertaker was the main match I cared about. So everything else is boring. Don't waste your time with this show. I'm going to give it a D. I'm not going to give it a D-. Stuff it. This show sucked. D-. And yeah, that was WrestleMania 29. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment, sub. See ya.